Hi, welcome to Rock and Metal Invasion. My name is Steve. Coming up on the show today, I'm doing Winger, the first three albums. And I got my friend Dan from Off the Charts here to join me. How you going, Dan?
I'm doing good, and you?
Oh, very good, very good. So,
Excellent.
yeah, I thought I'd start sort of profiling some bands, a little bit like what you've been doing with those sort of maybe forgotten bands or just those bands that you thought, you want to give a little bit of attention to. And so I thought I'm going to start doing that a little bit with some bands. And I thought about Winger. Now, of course, I guess one reason I might have thought about Winger, we've been doing a few reaction videos for Winger. They've got their new album coming out very soon, and I thought those first three albums. I know you're a Winger fan, so I thought you'd be a good man to have to do this with. And I also like them. I'm a big fan as well, especially the first three albums. So we're just going to look at the first three albums. But before we get into that, what's your sort of background with Winger? How did you kind of find out about them?
I did you guys have Metal Edge magazine?
Yeah.
Do you know about that? Yeah, that was what we read here. My friend calls it the Bible. And you kept, there were so many bands, like
Yeah.
sometimes it's just like, and of course, that was I 1988. I was what, 16? No, money wasn't so you would buy what you could. And then
Yeah.
I literally remember it was a video show here in Canada called Good Rockin' Tonight, which aired on Fridays. And I remember watching it with my sister on a little black and white TV, which didn't really matter because it was Headed for a Heartbreak, which
Yeah.
was the
Yeah.
first. So I've heard the name. Then I saw the video. I'm like, wow, this is good. I'm really liking this here. So I went the next day, bought the cassette. So that was my first like song I ever heard from Winger was Headed for a Heartbreak. On a small, black and white TV in my room because my parents, had the color TV. So I'm like, here, take this little black and white if you want to watch some stuff in your room there. So 1988, I think, or
Yeah, that's
89.
correct. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
88, I think. Yeah, I've got the album here. So this is the first one. And yeah, 88. Yeah. So cool. Yeah, thanks, Dan. So
That was yeah,
I
that
think
was my first. Yeah.
yeah, you got it too. Yeah. I think my first experience with Winger, I think might have even been talking to you when I told the story that I came home after school and there was it was like a kids channel, a kids show that played after school. But they actually had Kip Winger in the studio, and he was in the studio because he was doing a promotional trip slash going to see his girlfriend Rachel Hunter,
Yeah.
who is New Zealander, and so he was in the studio and talking about his album, and they played the song "Hungry," and I was like, wow, awesome song. And I just started getting into hard rock and metal at that point. Well, maybe for a couple of years, but just really into it at that point, and but didn't know about Winger. Saw that music video and thought, yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. So that was my first experience with them. And yeah, so again, a little bit like you, like seeing a music video and going, oh, yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. But
Mhm.
which actually for me here in New Zealand was not very common because we hardly ever got to see a lot of those music videos. So I
Really?
was, yeah, I was. Well, I mean, a lot of my purchasing was just blind buys. But I mean, in saying that, it wasn't that difficult to work out, right? You go to the music shop, have a flick through the records. They've got long hair. They've got like song titles that sound like metal or hard rock. So yeah, but you just work it out
But
from there.
but like I said, you knew about Metal Edge magazine.
Yeah, yeah, and the
What did you
magazines help.
guys?
Yeah, the magazines help too. Yeah,
Because that's all I went by because
yeah.
the Pepsi Power Hour, which is like the Headbangers Ball equivalent for Canada, was on a pay TV channel. So you got pay TV free maybe 2-3 times a year. So I got to see the Pepsi Power Hour like maybe 3 times a year. But the rest of the video shows here were like pop. Your Madonnas, your Whitney
Right,
Houston's.
right.
So the Good Rockin' Tonight was like every Friday, but I was lucky. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It wasn't shown anywhere else. But again, it was all magazines.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're right. Absolutely. The magazines were really good. I mean, whether they were good interviews or articles or not, it's just like, oh, told you about a band, and
Exactly.
even sometimes the reviews they didn't necessarily help that much, but you'd go, well, I'm just going to give it a shot. Sounds like something I might like. So, um, yeah. All right, so we'll get into it. But just before we talk about the first album, so Winger is, of course, Kip Winger. He is a classically trained musician, even did ballet when he was growing up.
Yeah.
So he's a man of many talents. Rev Beach on guitar, Rod Morgenstein on drums, and Paul Taylor is on guitar and keyboards as well. That's the lineup for the first album. One little interesting thing before I get to talk about the first album, Dan, is I think you've mentioned this on your channel, but it's on the cover of the album. You can see Sahara just written there, and I think that was initially going to be the name of the band. Is that right?
That was supposed to be the name of the band. There was another band with the same title. Right. And it was like decided at the 11th hour pretty much. And he's like, why don't you just name the band Winger? It's your project. And he was like, I'm not sure, man. And then sure enough, but they kept the Sahara name on it. So even though it's a self-titled technically album, a lot of people call it the Sahara album, but it's not called that at all.
Right. So exactly.
Yeah. It was supposed to be that.
Yeah. And I know that Kip Winger, I know in the before he hooked up with Alice Cooper, he was actually playing as in a band called Winger, or I think they were called Wingers, because it was him and his two brothers, and they were like a band when he was sort of growing up.
Nate and Paul, right?
Yeah, that's right. And they're quite musical as well. I think that you can see them credited sometimes on Beau Hill Productions, because Kip Winger and Beau Hill were friendly well before they even got together to do this album. So
I do have the Blackwood Creek. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Oh,
yeah.
I have that, which is, I forget which one of the brothers, Nate or forget the other guy's, Nate or Paul. Paul, yeah. One of the two.
Yeah.
Plus an guy, and they redid that band there. So yeah, I got that too.
Yeah. Oh,
it's actually very good.
Yeah.
Surprisingly very good.
Right. Yeah, cool. All right. Well, what about what can you tell us about the first album? So as we said, it came out in 1988.
Well, this one came out with 4 singles.
Yeah.
If you've been living under a rock, this is the one with the famous or infamous 17, which is not my favorite song of the album. I like it a lot. But it's got your Madeleine had a video, Hungry had a video, 17 had a video, and Headed for a Heartbreak had a video. I like this. It's not my favorite of them. I do like it a lot. Side 2, it's like your State of Emergency, Time to Surrender. I'm like, they're good, but they're not great. Poison Angel's good. Hanging On is one of those, I find it one of those deep cuts that are very good. And Without the Night on side 1, could do without. I'll tell you which ballad later on that I think is their best ballad ever. It's not Without the Night. It's not Without the Night for myself. I can tell you that there. And you know what? I actually love, and when I say love, I love it a lot, their cover of Purple Haze. I know you don't like it, but I love the musicianship of it, especially near the end. I just love what's happening musically in there.
Okay, yeah, cool.
So anyway, that to me, it's a very, very, very good, solid first album. I would say half of it I love, half of it I like. If that makes any sense. And also there was I had the CD. I should have brought that out too, which had a bonus track if you had the CD. And Higher and Higher. That's it. I don't know if you're familiar with that one there.
Yeah. So
I have that on CD too there, obviously there. So anyway, I find this very, very good. I love the artwork. I love the colors, and they're coming back with this logo, which I love.
Yeah, it's great logo.
So, yeah, I have no plus I even have the making of, like, the VHS tapes. I don't know if bands were doing that. I have the VHS tapes that go with this one, the VHS. Anyway, I have everything.
Yeah, they're quite into doing their making ofs, weren't they, for a lot of their albums? Yeah.
So yeah, so good stuff here. So anyway, there's my opinion on the first one. very good. That's what made me fall in love with the band there, especially Headed for a Heartbreak. And as a teen or as a kid or whatever, I didn't notice the musicianship as much as I do now as more of an adult.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
makes any
sure.
sense there?
Yeah.
So there you go. That's my take on this. A very brief take, but there you go. My take on the first album here.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, thanks, Dan. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, how back in those days the bonus track would be on the CD, and I always thought that was a little bit annoying because even back in in those days, I wouldn't say necessarily I was like, oh, I had to get it on vinyl, but often this CD was more expensive, or sometimes it was harder to get, or so a lot of the records I got in those when I first started getting into this type of music was on vinyl, and then I'd find out later, oh, I should have got the CD because I would have got the bonus track. But anyway, yeah. So this album, like I've told you my story about how I found out about the band, went out and got the album. I think Hungry was actually the fourth single, so they'd already
Yes,
released a few single at this point. Um, my One of my favorite songs on the album is Madeleine, which is the first single. I think that was actually the first single,
that's their first one.
and there's a music video for that. Really great rocker. It actually starts off a little bit soft with a little bit of sort of like acoustic guitar, and then the riff kicks in, and then Kip goes, "Tell you about this lady," and
Yeah,
yeah, really, yeah, really. I like the way he kicks that song off, and then the big riff. So really good. I mean, lyrically, like unfortunately, quite a few of the songs on this album, it's not great, but it is better than 17. Uh, yeah, and you certainly notice that Red Beach is one hell of a guitar player. So
oh
yeah,
my, yeah.
great solo. Not long, but really nice solo on that song. I talked about Hungry. I Yeah, this one again, another favorite. There's a little bit of a sort of orchestral kind of intro on that one, and then the guitar
Yes.
kicks in. And that was a thing that I think they do really well sometimes, is they'll start their song quite softly and then crank it up, and it's really good. Um, yeah, Purple Haze, I could do without. I know you like it, but and maybe because you're a musician yourself, you can appreciate it a little bit more. It's just, I mean, I like the song, but I just didn't need to hear a Winger version of it.
It was actually
So,
the first time I heard the song, believe it or
oh,
not,
really? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
as
And
opposed to Jimi Hendrix.
fair enough, yeah. And that happened, sometimes, because when you're just getting into music and you don't know a lot of that 70s stuff, you're like, this is a good song, and you find out, oh, it's not even the original. But
Yeah.
yeah, State of Emergency opening up side two. That's a good song. My favorite song though on side two is actually Time to Surrender.
Really?
Yeah, I love that riff, fantastic riff. Quite heavy for Winger, really good. And also, I know you like it as well. Hanging On, that also has a really good riff. And I
Yeah.
like the way, I'm not sure exactly what Reb is doing, but the way that the riff that kicks off that song, really, really good stuff. Yeah, yeah, it's really, yeah, really clever. I don't know what you call that, but it sounds great. And yeah, Heading for Heartbreak. Yeah, not a bad power ballad. It's a little bit sort of progressive, isn't it? A little bit of prog there, I think.
I
Uh,
never I never called it a power ballad. I to me
mhm.
was a just a slow paced rock song.
Right. Yeah, and maybe
I
that is
never
a
I never put it in until my friend, everybody kept calling it a power ballad. I'm like, I don't think it's a power
yeah.
ballad to
No.
me.
Yeah, no, you could be right. I mean, it's not the typical ballad, is it? It's certainly not Every Rose Has Its Thorn or Has a Thorn
Yeah.
or whatever it's called, or something like that, is it? So yeah. But yeah, so there we go. And the album went platinum, probably, I guess, off the success of, well, 17, but also Headed for Heartbreak was also a big hit for them as well. Um,
Yeah, because
yeah,
Madeline came first,
yeah,
was did so.
that's just,
17 came on and was that apparently skyrocketed them. But I didn't know about them at the time either
mm,
because I never heard that song
mm,
until and then Headed Heart for a Heartbreak was number 3 and Hungry number 4. Yeah.
yeah. All right, and then we're moving on now to album number two, and that is In the Heart of the Young. So, what can you tell us about that one, Dan?
I believe it or not, I bought this on cassette in New York City.
Oh, right.
It was on a family vacation trip. We went to New York City for some reason. For a vacation there, and I insisted we had to go to a record store, and I bought this there on cassette. Then I bought it on CD and vinyl, like vinyl afterwards. I don't know if it was with you I told, but I remember like I was into Winger big time, and when I first heard "Can't Get Enough," I was like, okay, it's good. Up until that bridge with the keyboard, I was like, oh, okay, now I'm loving this here. But this is some people love it, some people are okay with it there. Like I still like it a lot. I think I prefer number one to this one here, but it's still very good there. Can't Get Enough, I love. Loosen Up, it's good. I have no idea why they keep playing it live. It's always on every set list for some reason. And I'm not dissing the song. I'm just like, it's good. Miles Away, I'm not a big fan of that one either.
Their biggest hit, though, probably. That's probably their biggest hit, right?
Yeah, apparently it's a big chick song there. My sister loves it. I can tell you that.
Now that's a power ballad, eh?
What's that?
That's a power ballad.
Oh yeah, that definitely is a ballad. Yeah, power ballad. Easy Come, Easy Go, great rock song. Rainbow in the Rose, that's your progressive-ish type song. In the Day We'll Never See, it's a little too polished, I find. It's a good song, but there's too much keyboard mood sounds. Under One Conditions, one of their better ballads. Again, not my favorite. Dedicated to Rachel Hunter, by the way, that you mentioned. If you look at the credits
here.
Little Dirty Blonde is a very good song. Baptized by Fire never gets talked about, is one of my faves. And I actually can rap that whole thing in the middle, too. It's one of those raps that actually works with hard rock. You Are the Saint, I Am the Sinner. Again, I love that one. And In the Heart of Young, the song itself, I could do without there, but it's the name of the album. Apparently, this was directed to the youth. So here's the back cover of that there. But I did get to see them live, open for Kiss with Slaughter on this tour, and it was great. And my sister loved Miles Away, and she was with me. And I remember her screaming like those Beatles type girls there when Miles Away was starting. I was like, really? But anyway, that's my take on Winger number 2. Very good one. Not as good as the first one, in my opinion, but more mature musically.
Right. Yeah, you could be right there. Maybe for me, getting more mature musically isn't a good thing. Yeah, I don't know, but because my favorite song off the album is "Can't Get Enough," which I think supposedly he wrote in like 10 minutes. I think the record company said, Kip, we need a we're not seeing a hit here. Where's the hit song?
It was written at the last minute.
Yeah,
that and Easy Come, Easy Go.
Oh, okay,
the rest of the album was all done. It's like the same story as Cherry Pie, pretty much.
Yeah.
They got Can't Get Enough and Easy Come, Easy Go at the last second.
Yeah. So, I mean, if that's what it takes for him to write a good song like that. But, I mean, lyrically, it's really, you can tell we wrote it in 10 minutes. I've looked at the lyrics, it's like, oh my gosh. I mean, it's just.
Musically, too. Musically, too.
I guess so. But what the music that he has created is really kick ass, good riff. It sounds great. And I totally understand why they put that out as the first single. It makes sense because a lot of those bands back in those times they'd kick off with their rocker, their heavy song, and then the next song's the ballad. And I think that's what they did here. They had Can't Get Enough, and then I think probably Miles Away maybe was the second single. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and then Easy Come, Easy Go.
And maybe Easy Come, Easy Go. Yeah. So, love Can't Get Enough. There's a music video directed by Michael Bay, who's like a big time, Hollywood director now.
Transformers.
Transformers. That's right. Yeah, and that looks very expensive. That video. I don't know if that's just the director making it look expensive, but and Miles Away, like I said, probably their biggest hit, and that actually is written by Paul Taylor, which is quite surprising. So it's not written by Kip Winger. So nice royalties for him, but. Yeah, Easy Come Easy Go. It's got these synth horns in it, and not a big fan of that sort of sound in a song. Rainbow and the Rose also has horns, but they're actually real horns, and I don't mind that song. I quite like that song. Like you said, getting a little bit progressive on that song, definitely. And we talked about Can't Get Enough written in about 10 minutes. I think Rainbow and the Rose. I think they actually took Kip Winger, from what I heard, like quite a long time to put that
Oh
song
yeah.
together, and you can tell. For me, the second side's a little bit disappointing. No real standouts. It's good. I mean, there's some good songs on here. I like In the Day We'll Never See. Nice guitar work again from Reb. Lyrically, a big improvement. Under One Condition is a good ballad, actually. I quite enjoy that one. Probably the best ballad off the album, because there are a few ballads on this album. You Are the Saint, I Am the Sinner. I love that one. I love the way it kicks off when he just sings that chorus and then the guitar kicks in. That's really good. Could be better, but yeah, it's good. It's a good song. But yeah, I think for me, after really liking the first album, this one was a little bit disappointing. But it's still good, but it's a little disappointing compared to the first album. But there we go. That's the second
But
album.
You Are the Saint, I'm the Sinner. Watch it live when they do a
Oh yeah,
little.
yeah.
Oh my God, what the jam at the end there, I was like, wow.
Okay.
So, and I saw that part live too, and I was so good. So yeah, that's kind of what made me like I liked the song at the time. Now I love it because of how they play it live. That makes any sense there.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Album number 3. So this one came out in 1993. So 3-year gap between the second album, which came out in 1990, and this one. I'll just give it a little bit background. So this one, not produced by Beau Hill. This one's got Mike Shipley. On producing. And is that the reissue you've got there? Because I've had this for quite a while. I managed to.
Oh, this is the reissue here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the original.
This was really hard to get. This was really hard to get for a while, eh?
Wow. Good job.
This is an original. Yeah, pressing. Yeah. So anyway, what's your thoughts on that album, the third album?
The first time I heard it, did not like it.
Oh, really?
The first time, but I did love Down Incognito, the video. That was the lead-off single. But I'm like, it's Winger, because I love these guys, so I'm gonna force myself to like it. So Blind Revolution, Mad. Okay, as a whole, I would say I didn't like. I was like, okay, it's good, but I find this one is a very big grower. It's not. I don't find it's something that you love right away. Blind Revolution, Mad is a great song. Down Incognito. I love that, great single too. Spell I'm Under, again, not my favorite ballad of them. More to come on that. In My Veins, good. Junkyard Dog, I like it. A lot of people who hate Winger love Junkyard Dog. Oh, it's so heavy. And I'm like, to me, a heavy song doesn't make just because something's heavy doesn't make it good, or you know what I mean there. So I think it's a good song, not a great song. The Lucky One I love a lot. It's a great, just acoustic. I don't find it to be a ballad, but I find it to be very acousticy. In for the Kill is a great one too. No Man's Land's good. I love Like a Ritual, especially with that drum thing at the end there. And my vote for the best Winger ballad is Who's the One. Talk about an underappreciated song. I was like, I heard this, I'm like, wow, the mood is so good for. Anyway, that's my. I love that song there. Like, I wouldn't even say Who's the One is probably my favorite song off of this album. Like, I like it that much. But yeah, it's considered by many to be their best album. I would say yes. Musically, in their making of video, they're like saying, "Oh, the whole album's a diss to Rod Morgenstein," and yeah, he doesn't shine as much as that, but it's about the songs and about. I mean, again, Spell I'm Under does not do anything for me. But yeah, a very strong album. I would still say this would be my favorite, even though it's not at all the same as the first one. I don't like, not even close. Like it's a completely different band, but not in a bad way. It's a very good progression. Let me put it that way. So that's my take on Pull. I still think they should have named it Blind Revolution Mad, would have been a better title. And I don't like this.
Mm,
Never did.
mm,
That's me.
yeah.
My take on Pull.
Yeah. No, I haven't actually really ever thought about the way they've done their band name. Their logo, well, you're right, is much better on the other albums. Um, yeah. So this is an interesting time for Winger, I guess, because it's 1993 and they're definitely in the hair metal category, and they're putting out an album when grunge is really starting to
Big time,
basically,
yeah.
yeah, starting to eliminate these kind of bands. And uh, so, but the previous two albums have been platinum, so of course the record company is going to give them a shot, right? And you can definitely see this. I don't know if it's because of the way alternative rock has become more popular, and hair metal, sort of that sort of hard rock 80s metal sound has become less popular. That they have changed their sound. I don't know. They've definitely matured even more from the second album. I don't know if that was, or this is just their natural progression, but yeah. And I understand how you might not have liked this at first because it is quite a different sound. But yeah, for me, it's my favorite album as well. Just quality songs throughout the whole album. I mean, lyrically, oh my God, it's like, is this the same band? I mean, it's just a
Exactly.
complete. I don't know if I've ever heard a band improve their lyrics as much. And I'm not like that fussed about lyrics, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously, I listen to hair metal, but um, you know, this is yeah. Cheers, Dan.
I'm just laughing at your
Yeah. Well, no,
yeah.
that's my standard thing I say. It's like, hey, I can't really say, well, lyrics are really important to me. When I'm listening to I don't know, Bullet Boys or Poison or
Smooth up in you, yeah.
yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway, so but I love the lyrics on this one, especially "In for the Cool." I've mentioned this, I think, with you before. It's got a line, preacher's message sponsored by Coke. Love that one. Just a great song. Down Incognito, I think the first single, really cool riff. It's definitely a little bit alternative, a little bit unusual. And I kind of think, I wonder, if hair metal, if you want to call it that, had actually been allowed to evolve. If these bands would have maybe evolved into
I think
making
it.
this
I
kind
think
of
it's an
music.
evolution. I
Yeah.
think it's an evolution of this album here. It's
Mm.
just not what I was expecting. Like you're expecting Can't Get Enough. There's no Can't Get Enough on this
Oh no,
album.
no, no. There's a song in here called "No Man's Land," which I think reminds me a little bit of the first album. Maybe it even reminds me a little bit of "Time to Surrender." I can imagine that song on the first album. It's a great rocker, and I really like that song. But yeah, the rest is quite different to anything I think. Well, at least certainly off that first album. And like you said, "Who's the One?" I mean, my favorite Winger ballad, but easily. I don't really,
There
yeah,
you go. Good man.
by a long way.
I know, huh?
Yeah, it's just an
It's
incredible
so
song.
like
And I'm not even like a ballad guy, right? Or slow, I'm just like, oh, slow song, yeah, or a soft song. I don't usually don't mind them, but it's like I'm really just waiting for the rocker songs. But this one's just lyrically amazing. Yeah, it's just really, really good.
like
Really,
musically, I
really good
find
song.
it with toms as opposed to rods going. I don't know. I just love that one. The mood of it is so good.
Yeah, yeah, no, awesome. So, and there was a music video for "Who's the One" as well, but you
There
can
was a
see.
music video for Spell I'm Under,
Mm,
Down Incognito, and Who's the One.
mm.
They're
I was
on the
quite
making.
surprised. I was
They're
quite
on the
surprised
making
that
of
that
Pull.
many even, but yeah,
But those, apart from Down Incognito here in Canada,
yeah, didn't get
Spell
played.
I'm Under and Who's the One were like that. Did not even play it. Even they didn't play it on Power Hour or
Yeah,
whatnot. I found out about those on when the internet first came out, or or the making of
yeah,
Pull. I was like,
yeah,
there's a video
totally.
for this. I was like,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah,
But
yeah.
would you say the first two albums were albums for the fans, and this one's more of an album for themselves.
Mm.
You know what I mean by that?
Mm.
Like let's make those first two albums. Let's get our name out there. Let's make an
Mm.
album what people want. The third one is like, you know what? Let's make it a little bit for ourselves too at the same time. That's how I see it.
Yeah, yeah. I think that it really shows off their musicianship even more. And I think that's the band that they are now more. Like you'd say, they sound like, since then they've sounded more like this band, the band on this album. At times they still have those songs that you might have heard from the first two albums, definitely, but there's also a more serious side to them as well. And this is the debut of John Roth. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul Taylor had left.
Yeah.
Not from any
No.
It was touring fatigue. He had done Alice Cooper before that and Winger, and then it's like I'm done for now. So that was, but he wasn't on the album.
Oh no, that's right. He just came in for touring
as the touring guitarist. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that album is just a threesome for Paul.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Awesome. Hey, thanks again, Dan. I knew you'd be the man for this. We're doing Winger. Now, final question. And this is a really difficult question because I don't know how to answer this question myself. But is Winger your favorite band?
It's in my top 5.
Top 5, yeah. Yeah.
Easily in my top 5.
Yeah.
I feel like I was teased as a teen for liking Winger when Can't Get Enough came out, as the one note king. I'm like, listen to the rest of the album, and then this in between, In the Heart of the Young and Pull came the famous dartboard with Metallica, and during the Pull tour came the Beavis and Butthead. They couldn't even get any more gigs anymore. It was a bad time for to be a Winger fan, but I stuck by it like that. That's, to me, I was like, I'm gonna stick by these guys. Like, there's something about these guys that I love, and so yeah, I remember back in the Beavis and Butthead days with that little Stewart character with the Winger shirt, and it's like they were. A lot of people don't realize how that affected them. So that was another reason for me to, F it. This is one of my better bands. I'm not afraid to, it was one of the times that I didn't care about what people thought. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna love these guys no matter what. And that's how I stuck by it since then. And I've listened to them. So I even went and bought like the Kip Winger solo albums like that. I like that band that much. And I think he's a great composer. Sure, if you base it on certain singles at the time, you could see the ridicule to a point. But the musicianship was so good too. And
yeah.
Again, people base it on singles and posters and what other bands were saying about them, but you have to listen to the whole albums to really get them. I find there.
Yeah, I think Words got out enough now that people go, "Oh, you're Winger." No, they're a good band, and they're good musicians and very talented. I mean, what Kip's like? He's like written like a classical composition.
Yeah, I've got that on CDs. There, I got 2 or 3 on CD. He's actually known as C.F. Kip Winger III, which is Charles Frederick. And I actually laughed at the time. I don't know if you noticed on the Constrictor album by Alice Cooper. Well, it says Kip Ringer, by the way, not Winger, but Ringer the Third. I'm like, who the hell calls himself the Third?
Yeah.
Fair enough. That is actually his real name, Charles Frederick Kip the Third, or Winger the Third. So yeah, I got his classical stuff too there.
Yeah.
I don't know, I always played there, but I actually like a lot of that stuff there.
Yeah. Well, we won't go into the albums post Paul, but they have put out they broke up in a way. Well, the Winger just wasn't a thing in the 90s, and Kip put out a solo album, and I think he did some acoustic solo tours.
3 or 4 solo albums.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. So, but those 3 or 4 are they're quite mellow. Is that right? Mellow sort of, or a little bit of rock.
Like the first one's actually my favorite.
Right.
This conversation seems like a dream.
Yeah. I think I've heard that one.
And he actually has a song called Daniel. I'm like, yeah, I'm down with that. After that came Songs from the Ocean Floor, and I forget something with the moon. I forget the third one.
Oh yeah.
And actually, my second favorite ballad from Winger, or the Winger, would be a solo song, How Far Will We Go? If anybody out there is curious to see like a really good ballad, a little like Who's the One type of How Far Will We Go, check that one out.
I'll check that out, yeah.
But then they reformed in 2004, and I saw that tour, and that's where I got my picture taken with him, and we went there to see Faster Pussycat, Winger, Cinderella, and Poison. And it was my sister, my friend, and myself, and there was a band for everybody. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Got to hear Rainbow in the Rose live, Blind Revolution Mad live. I was like, wow. Me and my friend looked at each other like, what the hell? Yeah, it was a great one there. And then, of course, they reformed. Well, they did that Greatest Hits.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Which had...
It's got one new song on it, hasn't it? And...
yeah, there was a new song on the inside, which was a leftover from the Pull sessions.
Oh yeah. And
also they had an extra song from on the Japanese version of Pull, which is Hell to Pay, which I've told you about on one of our shows there. So that came as a Greatest Hits. Then after that, I'll just show them really quick there. They had a demo anthology. This only exists on CD. Again, I'm a huge Winger fan. I mean, if you want everything Winger, sure, this is worth it. I never listened to this, to be honest there. It's just the same songs, but played a little slower. Like, the demos are pretty much the same versions as the songs that you know on the first 3 albums. Plus some, I mean, the bonus, like the unreleased materials, what's good on, not the demo.
The unreleased songs, there's some good songs on there, but not great. You can kind of understand, okay, maybe that's why they didn't make the
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
There's some good stuff there. But then they came back in 2006.
Yeah.
Released Winger 4. I don't know if you own this one here.
No, I don't. I'm not a big fan of that one, but maybe I just need to get. I need to give it a little bit more listening. But from what I've heard,
this is Winger doing what they really want. This is them showing off how talented they are. Pretty much. There's no, apart from maybe Your Great Escape there, but this I love. This is one of my favorites actually from them. I mean, okay, they have 6 albums so far there, but I always find something different off of this one here. I think this is a lot of people seem to have a lot of love for this, especially musicians, maybe. But there's a lot of talent on this. But it was them telling the world, like, F you, we can play. So there's this one here. Then came Karma.
Yeah, no, got that one. I love that one. Yeah, really good.
It's a good one too. There, it's like, but again, it's like a mix of Whole and the first one. It's like, let's have fun, but let's also be serious.
Yeah,
is again, and I find a commercial album, but for themselves. If that makes any sense there? Deal with the Devil on this is
that's a great song. And Pull Me Under and Big World Away, they're my 3 go-to songs on that album. Yeah.
Pull Me Under took me a while to love that one.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to mention, this one here. Your Great Escape. If anybody out there, just go look at the making of. You'll see some on YouTube. It's on YouTube. Just go Winger, the making of Winger 4, and when they're coming out with The Great Escape. It's one of the better music. You're like, and you're like, wow, I can't believe this was actually recorded. And you're like, talk about a magic moment caught on tape. Let me put it that way.
Okay, cool.
It's so good. But and Generica, a great song about today's. It's about having a Starbucks and a McDonald's every two corners of.
Yeah.
And then of course came this one. Yeah, Witness. Again, that's another great guitar solo. It's like Headed for a Heartbreak or It All Comes Around, which is their latest song there. So great album too. And of course I got 2 copies of because there's one of them has a bonus track and one of them has the making of Better Days Coming. If this was on vinyl, I would say the first half is excellent. The second half is very good. That makes it.
Yeah.
Except So Long China was probably my favorite song off the second side. So yeah, the second side, it's good.
Yeah,
but the first side is killer. So yeah, Better Days Coming.
And that came out in like 2014, I think. Is that right? I'm pretty sure it is. So it's the new album, which is coming out this year, has taken them. Well, it's been 9 years since their last album.
2014, yeah.
So they've made you wait a while, Dan, for this one.
I know.
But we've done video reactions for the first 2 singles on your channel, and we're both really liking them, aren't we? So, because I'm like you, I've gone from liking to really loving that second song that we did a video reaction.
Yeah, it's pretty, but I love listening to it, not watching it.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But to be fair, that album started recording pre-pandemic. They've been working on that, and then they got sidetracked because of like a lot of people there. So yeah, it's 2 years in the making. So
yeah, that's right. That's probably had a bit to do with the delay. And he's been off doing classical compositions and things like that. So, all right, just to finish off, because I said we'd create our own compilation. So our best of Winger. So say we were a record company and we're putting out the best of Winger. They probably did already do this, but this is our one. So this is our best of Winger, only from the first 3 albums. But you could include bonus tracks or maybe unreleased songs that were recorded during that time if you wanted to. So, do you want to start us off with what is on your 10-track best of Winger?
So yeah, we've agreed on 10 songs, right?
Yeah.
So from the first album, I'm going to put Headed for a Heartbreak and Madeline.
Yeah.
That's it. You?
First album I've got quite a few from the first album because there's just so many good songs. So yeah, Madeline, Hungry, Time to Surrender, and Hanging On. And I was tempted to go for Headed for Heartbreak as well, but I thought that's just too much. So yeah, 4 tracks. So Madeline, Hungry, Time to Surrender, and Hanging On.
All right.
So that's 4 of them for me, and you've got only 2, so you've only used up 2 tracks. What have you got on your best of from this one?
I have actually more, but I told you already, so Can't Get Enough.
Yep.
You Are the Saint, I Am the Sinner, and a very deep cut, Baptized by Fire. I don't like rap, but man, do I love that little rap in the middle for that. And that little beginning there, it's, the million notes that Reb plays there on the guitar is actually also copy pasted on another B-side they have called Never. I don't know if you've ever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I prefer it on this one here. So to me, yeah. Baptized by Fire, You Are the Saint, I'm the Sinner, and Can't Get Enough.
Okay. All right. Cool. So you've got 5 tracks so far. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 5. So I've used 4. I'm going to use just 2. So just 2 from this one for me. And Can't Get Enough. And I'm going to go with nearly changed my mind, but I ended up going for "You Are the Saint, I'm the Sinner." So that's my second choice from that one. So now we're on to our the last album. So I'm interested because you've got 5 tracks left. Are they all coming from here? Are they?
No, they're not.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cheat a little bit. So in between, in the heart of the young and Pull, came this Battle Stations. What a great song! This I was like, how is this not on any album? I love that song. So I'm putting Battle Stations as my number 6.
Mm-hmm.
Surprise! There you go.
It's a surprise, but no, I totally agree. Got that complete with that soundtrack as well, and it's a killer song. Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, I'll do my. I've got 4 left, and they're all no surprises. They're all coming from this album, and Down Incognito. Three songs actually from side 2. So Down Incognito, the only song from side 1, but then In for the Kill, No Man's Land, and finishing off with Who's the One.
Good choice. All right. Well, mine are coming from this one, but again, another asterisk here. The Japanese
okay.
version. So I'm putting Blind Revolution Mad, Down Incognito, Who's the One, and Hell to Pay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have ever chance to listen to Hell to Pay on this.
This is like he's dissing Lars from Metallica.
Yes.
Yeah. Only because you told me about that. Yeah.
Anybody out there, just Google or YouTube Winger Hell to Pay, and that was Kip's rebuttal regarding that little dartboard, but a very not popular way, obviously, because that album flopped in commercial way. There, he got his revenge, but he didn't flaunt about it.
Yeah.
My friend told me about it, but I didn't realize this. I had the CD, and when the internet first came out, when I'm talking 1997, we were in these chat rooms, and I was like, oh my God. And I found this music chat room, and a guy made me a cassette, and he mailed it to me to my house with 4 bonus track Winger songs, and Hell to Pay was on that. It was on the Jack Pull. And I was like, wow, this is a good song. And I put it in the car, and I was driving. My friend's like, oh my God, that's all Metallica. He's talking about Metallica. So I would not have realized it had it not been for him. So listen to the lyrics. Yeah. If anybody out there, listen to Hell to Pay by Winger. In the middle, the bridge there, you're like, oh, okay, now I get who he's talking about.
Right.
It was a clever way to get back at somebody without actually telling.
Yeah.
You're getting back at somebody.
Yeah. No, so that's much better way to do it. You know what my suggestion was? He should do a music video where he's got a picture of Lars, and he's throwing the dart at Lars. But I think that's probably not the best way to do it.
That would be stooping to his level, though.
Yeah.
I like the way he got back at him.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if Lars is aware of this song too. So
no, possibly not. All right, hey, it's been a long one, but it's been really good, and I think we've covered Winger pretty good, especially those first 3 albums. We're really excited about the new album coming out soon, and if you want to hear our reactions to the first 2 songs, the video reactions to the first 2 music videos from the new album, which is coming out, I think, in May. Is that right?
May 5th on digital or CD.
Yeah.
August 4th on vinyl.
Yeah. So if you want to check that out, that's on Dan's Off the Charts channel. Make sure you check his channel out. It's got great content. And thanks again, Dan, for coming along and doing this with me.
No problem. Always a pleasure, man.
All right. And
you're one of the good guys.
Oh, thanks, Dan. And for anyone watching, make sure you've subscribed. It's great to see the subscribers going up a little bit now and getting close to 300, which is fantastic. Hit the like button. Leave your comment. What's some of your favorite Winger songs? What's your favorite Winger album? And I'll be back next time, sometime very soon. All right, catch you later.
Take care.